Hello, my name is Lo, and I am currently in lockdown, week 6. This is my first full week living in my new house. How exciting. The reason why in last week's video I only gave a tour of my own room instead of the whole house is because when I was moving in, there was a third housemate who was moving out. And a lot of the furniture that we were using in the house was hers. The fridge, some of the couches, a lot of the decorations, houseplants, etc. were all in the process of being moved out. So our house has been in a big state of transition, but we have pretty much settled down. We've gotten new couches, a new fridge, a new housemate. So at the end of this week's recap, I'm going to give a tour of the full house. As always, if you are interested in catching up on what I've been up to before this, including the process of finding a new house, moving in, dealing with quarantine and isolation, and now with housemates, etc., I will link all of my former Lockdown Lowdown videos in the description below. And without further ado, let's just get started with what I was up to this week. On Monday, I started filming my Lockdown Lowdown week 4 video, and then I started editing it. And then my housemates and I spent a couple hours cleaning out a new fridge that they had found on the side of the street. Unfortunately, I didn't take a before picture because I'm a bad vlogger, but it was pretty gnarly. There was a lot of mold and dirt and everything in it. It was an interesting process to clean. There was a part of the fridge called the meat keeper, which was very, very gross and really validated me in being a vegan because I don't want to deal with that kind of meat juice. But in the process of cleaning the meat keeper, we did end up having to stick our fingers in it, which we then dubbed fingering the juicy meat keeper, and I wanted to die. But we did eventually get the whole thing clean and moved it into our house. The next day, on Tuesday, I planted some of my celery in the garden, so I'm very excited to finally become the plant gay that I have always been destined to be. Later that day, I tried Vegemite for the first time, and yeah, if you are not in Australia and have never had the distinct honor of eating Vegemite, don't bother. It's just not good. I think this entire continent has just been so sufficiently gaslit by the Vegemite company that they have all convinced themselves it's good, but it's not. And then we rearranged a bunch of stuff throughout the rest of the house just to clear out some of the old things that are about to leave and see how we want to redecorate it. The entirety of Wednesday was just kind of rainy day vibes. I journaled with my friend, edited that week 4 Lockdown Lowdown video, did some craft projects, and had a big old heart-to-heart with my new housemate about kind of our family histories and our identities and stuff like that. And it was really nice to just kind of chill, take it easy, and build up that connection with my new housemate. On Thursday, I biked over to a bulk food shop at the Preston Market, and I bought some oats and rice and quinoa and chickpeas, as well as a couple vegetables and stuff like that. I was essentially stocking up for a super cool project that I've been working on for the entire month of May that I'm hopefully going to start releasing videos for on like the 15th-ish, so stay tuned for that. I also tried another Australian favorite, which is called, I think, fairy bread. It's just bread with butter and like sprinkles on top, but apparently it's like very important here and people like lose their shit for it. I mean, it was good in the way that just sugar and carbs are good, but The next day, I started making videos for my super special project. And in the process of working on that project, I organized my pantry, I organized my fridge shelf, and basically just took stock of every food item that I own. And then, and I'm not proud of this, but I watched the entirety of Love is Blind overnight. I got really emotionally invested in all of the people. Fuck Jessica, and I'm so glad that Amber called her out in that reunion episode. Also, I don't know who needs to hear this, but okay, yeah, obviously being bisexual is not an excuse to be an asshole to women, and obviously Carlton's reaction to Diamond was completely out of line, but he did apologize to her in the reunion episode, and I do think that he realized that his outburst was more about his own internalized biphobia and less about her. And I think that all of the people who were completely up in arms about it and sending him death threats need to realize that being bisexual, especially when you are a black man, is still not very socially acceptable. And it's completely understandable that he would have hangups about it. Yeah, he should have dealt with it better, but he's going through his own process and he did try to make amends. So maybe be a little more intersectional in your analysis of these issues. Anyway, once I finished my Love is Blind marathon and it was Saturday morning already, I helped my housemate a bit in moving her stuff into the newly vacated room in our house. And then that night, my housemates ordered delivery from a vegan restaurant, and the delivery driver accidentally gave us the wrong order. So my housemates called them and they were essentially like, yeah, I mean, we can't take it back and try to switch them out because of coronavirus. So we're going to remake your order and bring it to you again, and you can just keep the stuff that we accidentally gave to you, which was amazing because we essentially just ended up getting a free meal out of it, and it was delicious. There was vegan poutine, a vegan cheeseburger, and vegan chicken strips or something. I don't know, but it had this lemon sauce that was to die for. And as the three of us sat in our unfurnished living room eating our free vegan food, we talked about climate change, death, religion, queerness, colonization. We hit all the big categories of taboo topics. And mind you, this is a week of knowing these people, and we were like, so what are your deep-seated traumas that have to do with your religious upbringing? And it was amazing. Like I said in my week 5 video, I had been in a not great place mentally before that because of all of the transitions and because of lockdown just getting to me. But it actually kind of counterintuitively was really, really helpful to be able to talk about sickness and death and religion and stuff like that with other people in a non-judgmental and non-taboo kind of way. And then on Sunday, I didn't do too much except dye my housemate's hair red. And then she taught me the nut bush, which is a line dance that they apparently do here at weddings and stuff. I guess kind of like the Macarena or Cupid Shuffle or whatever we do in America. And honestly, after having tried Vegemite, fairy bread, and learning the nut bush, I feel like I'm really connecting with the culture of Australia. I still can't do a good accent though, and there is absolutely no way I'm going to attempt it and put it online and subject myself to that kind of potential ridicule, so no. Between Sunday and the time that I'm filming this video, we've done a little more redecorating and gotten a little more furniture, and I think our house is pretty much set. It's pretty much looking like it's going to look for the next 6 months. So now I will bring you on a little tour of where I'm living. Here is the entryway of our house. There's one bedroom. And there's another bedroom. Here is the kitchen. And then this way, we've got the pantry on this side and the bathroom on this side. And here is my bedroom, which is conveniently close to both the pantry and the bathroom, which I love personally. Here's the kitchen. It's kind of small, but it's cute and it works well enough. Here is the 4th fridge that we had in this house within the span of about a week. Here is the toilet, which is separate from the shower, which is actually very convenient because if somebody's showering, we can still use the toilet. And then a sink and washing machine, and we keep our microwave in here because there's no room for it elsewhere. And then here is the living room. We've got an assortment of furniture that we just kind of have collected from various sources. A little bookshelf. And here is the outside patio. And there's Maddie. Hello. And yeah, just a cute little patio with plants and stuff. And then we got a shed in the backyard where we keep all of our stuff that we don't currently need, just for storage. And that's pretty much it of my house, so now let's go to reflections on the week. Like I said, last week was definitely a low point for me in a lot of different ways, but this week I really do feel like I've gotten a lot better. I've definitely been settling in and getting more comfortable and getting back some of that passion and motivation that I started lockdown with but had lost by week 5. And also, I was joking earlier when I said that I feel more in touch with Australian culture because of Vegemite and the Nutbush, but in some ways, yeah, living with Australians has really opened my eyes to a lot about Australian culture. I think as a traveler, it's really easy to remain unaware of a lot of aspects of Australia. It's really easy to just tour around and see the didgeridoos and the boomerangs and the kangaroos and the beaches and never know about anything beyond that surface level. But the people I'm living with in this house care about the same issues in Australia that I care about in the United States, like reparations for Indigenous people, rights for queer people, compassion for refugees, justice for people of color. And because of that, I've been learning so much in the last week about the actual issues that Australians are facing, and they're really similar to the issues that a lot of Americans are facing. Obviously, America is not doing too hot right now, and it's very tempting to look at Australia as so much better. And in some ways it is, but they still have their own issues for sure. For example, there's this thing in Australia called the Acknowledgement of Country, where you pay respect to the traditional custodians of the land, and you acknowledge that they never ceded sovereignty of the land and pay respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And it's pretty standard practice around here to begin events with that and to include some kind of text in your program brochure or on your website or whatever. And at first, when I got here, I thought that was just absolutely amazing because we have nothing like that in the United States. I didn't even know the name of the Native American tribe whose land I was living on in Nashville until I took it upon myself to look it up after seeing a tweet calling me out for it. So when I came here, just seeing and hearing people acknowledge the name of the Aboriginal tribe whose land this is seemed pretty radical to me. But after talking to my housemate about it, I learned that even this seemingly great practice has its own problems. Because it's such a widespread practice, a lot of the time people will just kind of say it out of obligation rather than genuine acknowledgement or genuine reflection. And when it's said by a non-Indigenous person who doesn't really seem to care about Indigenous issues, it can come across as kind of tokenizing. There's a big tourism industry in Australia that profits off of exoticizing Aboriginal culture, and there's a big stereotype of Australians as kind of cool, laid back, apolitical, there's nothing wrong, let's just go to the beach. But these stereotypes can keep people from realizing that in a lot of ways, the Australian government and culture is just as xenophobic, colonialist, queerphobic, and otherwise corrupt as a lot of other countries like America. And now that I'm becoming more aware of all of these issues, I'm also having to confront the responsibility that I, as a traveler, have in either perpetuating these issues or fighting against them. Unfortunately, there's kind of a limit to how much radical work I can be doing while not leaving the house. But before lockdown started, my housemates were involved in a number of issues, including climate activism, refugee activism, queer activism, and hopefully after lockdown ends, I can join them in that work. That's all I have to say for this week. And actually, this is going to be my last lockdown lowdown video because, as I mentioned, I have that special project coming up, which is pretty work intensive. So I'm going to be focusing on that project instead of these weekly videos. Plus, it's looking like lockdown is going to be coming to an end fairly soon in Australia, and I don't know how much more content I can milk out of it. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about topics other than lockdown and doing stuff other than just kind of vlog and reflection style videos. So stay tuned, and I guess look forward to that if you are interested. And that's pretty much all I've got for today. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!